All right, Mr. May. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Paintball Lounge. Sorry if we were having problems with the intro, internet problems, probably as usual. But welcome to Mr. Mike from Charm City. Uh, awesome for
Hey,
you to
man.
come here, man.
I'm so happy to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me to hang out with you.
Hey, no problem. So, how long you been in the paintball industry, like the sport and everything in general?
Um, I think when I got my first paintball gun, it was before paintball was actually, well, before I knew of it being a sport. It was in the 80s. It was like 1988, I think. I got a Splatmaster. So, me and my buddy used to just we had to go to the paintball field, the paintball store to get our tanks filled because that was the only place that could fill like a CO2 tank. So, you go fill up your tanks and you go run around in the woods and shoot each other. And that was the first thing I knew about paintball, you know.
So you were playing with the OG Splatmaster, like the bef- before all all the guns that we shoot now. Like you were shooting like the old school mask. Like then it was a face all mask, which just a what goggles, was just a couple of like JT
Yeah,
goggles or something like
no,
that.
they were just like shop goggles, like that you wore in wood shop in school. Like they were just shop goggles. The kind with the cheap little elastic strap that looks like a shoelace that goes
Oh
behind your head.
my!
Yeah, that's
Oh
what we
my
used to
god!
wear.
Dang! I mean, because I was watching the the that whole documentary of like the history of paintball back in 2021 or somewhere around there when they released it,
Mhm.
and now I get to meet someone who actually was in that era, like when it all started. What? That's crazy.
Hey, just a quick question. Should I go horizontal on my phone? Is that better for what we're doing here?
You can go horizontal or vertical, it doesn't matter. It's
Let's
like
just see.
as long as it's better for you, that's all that
Okay.
matters.
I just noticed how like far away I looked and I was like, man, this might be a little bit better if
And
that works out.
it
So,
works out
all
well.
right.
So
Cool,
it's all
man.
good. So are you currently a player?
Yeah, I play D3 X ball and I'm playing in the amateur division the amateur division in the ICPL 10 man. So with
Okay.
Brimstone Smoke.
What team you play for?
I play with Brimstone Smoke for 10 man and I play with Rampage, local guys down here in South Florida for X ball.
Okay. And you all play like NXL, and NXL event, or
NXL events and probably the biggest series here in Florida is the MVPS events, which is the Maximum Velocity Paintball Series.
oh,
So
I've
we've
seen that.
been,
I love MVPS. I love it. It's
yeah,
so much fun.
yeah, they're good events. They're really good events. And so we could definitely be seen around some of those events as well. So
So all right, so you started paintball like in the 1988s and like in the 80s when it all started. Like, have you actually played like big events where this is like holy crap?
um, the biggest event the first big event I played was at Wayne's World. It was a rec event that was a 24-hour scenario game.
Hmm.
And at the end of those games, there's always some kind of a great final battle where there'll be like 300 versus 300. And the way everything came down at that event, if I'm remembering correctly, is there was like a small town on one side where you would enter into to the big playing area, and there was a bunch of little huts, and there was a tower in the middle of that. And so our team was kind of on that side and all the other team came pressing from like the wood lines and stuff and coming into the huts and they were just like stacking in like crazy. And so there was a giant battle that was there. It was really fun. That was the first time I had ever been in a big scenario with tons of people playing. So it's a different kind of thing than I do now, but it was really fun.
Scenarios are so much fun,
Yeah.
especially I think it's the scrimmage one. I think scrimmage in Pennsylvania is like the biggest one to go to for scenarios, and I think it's
Yeah.
also, was it Battle of Norway? Yeah, the Battle of Norway. That's like the holy grail of scenarios. and I played it, and that oh, never again.
How many people end up showing up for those for like the big ones like the Battle of Norway and stuff? Because it looks like 1,000 players, maybe more.
Yes, it's like thousands. Like take a World Cup size and maybe double it
Yeah. Wow.
because you got people. I think there's some people that coming from Canada that sometimes play it. Some people come from North America, not North America, Europe that come play it, and it's a big event. I don't know how big it is now because pandemic and
Hmm.
everything that happened changed the industry. So, but it's when I went there, it was pretty dang big. It was, but that was like back in 20 something. I can't remember.
Yeah. That's
Um,
cool though. Those
but
events have a good vibe too, because a lot of people are there to hang out and see their friends. So it's not just paintball, but it's a lot of camaraderie and people just chilling, having a beer, whatever. It's great.
having a beer, smoke a cigarette, don't care. Like
Yep,
kick ass, take names.
that's it, man. 100%. 100%.
so so you've been playing so you play 10-minute ICPL.
Hmm.
How is that for the new people who doesn't know what ICPL is? Like what is that like? Because I know there's some new viewers or people who are just getting started playing tournament paintball. They're like, what's ICPL? And what is it about?
Yeah, the ICPL is what they started calling the Classic Paintball League, and it's 10-man teams, mechanical paintball guns. So no electronic guns, everything is one shot, one pull, and they're kind of the new mechanical guns are so good. It does you can't even compare one of the things in the 90s that I used to shoot to what's available today, but that's what it is. It's just really basic simplified guns. It's kind of like a NASCAR event. I mean, it's equalized. Like, I mean, I guess the way the X Ball events are now too, it's very much like that. Everything's equalized. Um, but that's it. It's mechanical paintball, 10 guys on each side. The games are 10 or 12 minutes depending on the venue where you're playing. Um, and it's just really it's more tactical. The games are more slowed down or more paced, I should say, because there's a lot of action, but that action doesn't normally start breaking down into like the last third of the game when you're trying to close out points and force things to happen. So it's very exciting, you know.
So it's very slow. It's kind of like not fast paced. It's more like kind of like middle slow pace. Depends on how you play it, and it's also ours costs like doesn't cost a lot because you got 10 people playing, and that's like what 120 person per person or maybe less than that.
Yeah, the entry fees for 10-man events have been less than the entry fees for X Ball events. So I don't know exactly what every different league may charge because there's a lot of different 10-man leagues, but yeah, it's generally compared to X Ball like 2,600, 2,700 or whatever for a team at World Cup or something. It's like a third of that or just probably it's less than half, you
Right.
know. So it makes a big difference.
Okay, so let's jump onto like NXL because I know you got off of work and we're all tired and everything, but
Oh, it's good, man. No worries.
I
I'm good to hang
there
out.
is some questions or opinions that I would like your opinion about. How do you feel about NXL in 2025 with all the crazy stuff that's been going on with coaches leaving one team to join another team that you didn't think of, the rebranding, um, all of it.
Well, I probably am not as up to date with everything as you are. I have been seeing some player changes coming. I saw Archie is going back to X Factor, which is to me that's pretty cool. I mean, he's a hell of a player, man. And
Archie's like Archie's Archie. Like I, there's no words to describe it.
the thing for me is that he is, you know, you can say to people who all right, okay, getting ahead of myself. You
No,
know how
you're good. You're
you
good.
you know how you meet people sometimes who they're like a little cocky, they're
Hmm.
good, but they're a little bit cocky and stuff. And
Hmm.
you think to yourself, look, man, paintball is a team sport. You're not going to win it all by yourself. I think Archie might be one of those guys who defies that logic. Like throw that logic right out the window. I've seen that dude shoot like five guys a point. I've seen that guy just be sneaky and outwit people. He's fast, dude. He's killer. So going back to X Factor with him, I do think it's pretty good. And if Colt Roberts and him are back together again, they got some chemistry on the field. So I think that's going to be really sweet. I
I
like X
agree
Factor.
100%. I agree that 100%. I think Archie can also bring um, some of the acknowledgement, the acknowledgement that he or the what he learned to from Dynasty into X Factor, and maybe they
Yeah.
will actually win an event with Archie. What he learned, the skills that he learned from playing with Dynasty, because I mean, because Dynasty is like one of the OG teams that's been around for like since they were the kids.
Hmm.
I can't remember what kind of kids they were called. They were called known
The
as the
Iron Kids.
thank you, Iron Kids.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like the acknowledgement that they have and the skills that they will teach like everybody is and Archie would teach it to X Factor is phenomenal. And I think it was a great move.
Yeah, they just have Dynasty is special. They have a kind of teamwork that they've managed to work some kind of a system where they've got all their players
Mhm.
working so well together, no matter who they have to sub out, who can make the event, who can't make the event. Even if like some of the main guys aren't there, the team still performs generally speaking, really, really well, and their teamwork is on point. So it's like they've got a great system going. So yeah, I mean, even the most seasoned, skilled players could still learn stuff, and who better to learn things from than a team like Dynasty who's got it so put together.
Now Dynasty is gonna. I feel like Dynasty and Impact and um, Red Legion and X Factor are going to have. I think they're going to be the next top four teams because not only Dynasty, recruited one of the best coaches in my defense, Michael Bianca, who used to be the coach for the Hurricanes, now goes to coach for Dynasty. I feel like that. Also, Red Legion's got coach Ryan Gray from AC Diesel / Scalp, and Impact. Well, Impact just scored like a lot of good players. Marcel
Hmm.
McGowan's going there. Tyler Hartman's going over there. It's like crazy. What I try to keep as much as I can, bud. But
Yeah, and things are going to continue to change before up until the first NXL event next year, until Vegas or something.
yeah,
You're going to still see a lot of changes. Um, and there's a lot of new blood in the pro division too. There's a lot of new up and coming teams who I think are teams coming into the pro division now. I think they have a leg up because
mm-hmm.
some of the guys, I mean, as opposed to like in the old days, everyone who gets there seems so athletic
Mm-hmm.
and just like so ready. And you rarely see a team get into the pro division who who can't win. Maybe they don't have good events, but if you know the guys or if you met guys, you're like, man, every one of those guys is such good players. So it's very high level. It's pretty dope. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I gotta be biased on this, and I'm just gonna say my opinion. I don't think that um, the New York Extreme buying out ML Kings just so they could stay pro because they were supposed to be renegade, and then they, you know, went back to pro was not cool at all because that kind of brings down some of the semi pros who some of them actually deserve to be on the spot of the pros, like Wrecking Crew. But that's it.
Yeah, that that's been happening. Money introduced into the game has been part of the thing forever. I mean, how do you
Yeah,
think
I know.
Impact gets all these great players? They're paying everybody, and how can you blame a guy who is a professional paintball player if he gets a better cash offer from a team? I mean, after all, it's your job, right? You want to
Yeah,
earn as much money as you can. to do what you do. So
It just
I
leaves a
get it.
sour. It does leave a sour taste in my tongue, like because that's just like why, like because no offense to like Sea Dogs who play the semi pro Sea Dogs, they play phenomenal. Leverage, I knew they were going to be the next pro team. I was really hoping that Wrecking Crew was going to be the next New York team because I've seen how they play, and Wrecking Crew was, they had some stuff to work on. I'm not gonna lie, but I could see them as a 2025 pro team,
Hmm.
but not like the top of the team, no. But they have that charisma and they have that like you can watch how they play and they'd be like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Well, it's really rare that a team comes in like PB Fit and just seems to have it all figured out, right? Like they got all the pieces in the right places, and they're super solid, you know. And there they go and just play. They're smashing it, and that doesn't always happen. It's pretty cool
No,
too.
that never does. And that was the ultimate like crazy story that PB Fit. No one thought that PB Fit was going to win the World Cup. No one thought of it, but it happens.
Yep. Hey, paintball is man. Not only does everything have to be going your way, you got to get the right calls by the refs.
Mhm.
Everybody individually has to be playing their best game ever. Like there's so many things that go into a win and things that are even outside of your control, you
Yeah,
know. So it is impressive and it's pretty cool. Definitely.
especially when you say like like you gotta have the best plays, don't get penalties and everything. Or my personal favorite, don't argue with the ref. I don't know if you saw what happened with that. With
I've Go ahead and tell me. I've seen a bunch of different things lately.
so I think I can't. I know it was on Diesel. I think it was I can't remember the guy. He it was with Diesel reversing PB Fit at World Cup,
Okay.
and I think it was Goldman who literally like hit the buzzer, but I think he got shot or something, and he was arguing with the ref, like got into the ref's
Hmm.
face. I'm like, you do not want to do that because you get this is the guy like the ref has the power to literally throw a major, and you literally cost your team like the advantage.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he got a suspension for the next two matches. And I just was watching, I think it was yesterday, Paintball Ruined My Life had a new uh, video on YouTube about overshooting or violence in paintball, and that was one of the clips
That
that
was
he
what
played that he
happened.
talked about. Yeah, so I just that's really fresh in my mind because I just watched that.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
that's just something you don't do. That's just some no matter how much this game could be, aggressive and get your drilling pumped up and everything, you don't argue with the refs. You
Well,
never do.
if there's gonna be brands that say hate, and if there's gonna be brands called violence, look, you get what you get. You're asking for it. You know, if
Hmm.
you want to represent violence and hate, you're gonna see it eventually. So just,
Yep.
that's why I mean, I don't, whatever. I think people like to talk a big game, and people get frustrated on the field, man. Your tempers flare. You get really. I've seen people that you would never suspect to even ever lose their temper to go just ape shit on the field, and it's out of character, but sometimes it just gets under your skin. It's a passion, with the game. So I think there's a certain amount of that to be expected, or
Well,
and to be forgiven.
yeah, of course. So let's talk about this way. Let's talk about your business, Charm City. Where did it all started for Charm City? Or in my case, why is Charm City a raven?
Oh, it's not necessarily a raven. That's
Filter.
the lucky bird. Just
Oh,
a silhouette.
okay. It looked like a raven. I was like,
Yeah, probably just because it's black,
yeah.
but in that one.
Yeah. So what it all started like the Charm City, like what gave you the idea like you want to be a making headbands and shirts and all that?
Well, I used to make headbands like in 2004, 2005. I used to was playing seven man NPPL back then, and I made headbands back then. I made them for myself, for guys on the team, but I never turned it into a real business or anything like that. I just was doing it for people that I knew. Um, but in 2016, I was doing like some side work to just have money for paintball. So I had like some customers that I would do some stuff for, and like whatever money I made doing that, that was my paintball money. And I lost one of those gigs because one of the people wanted to hire a family member to do what I was doing for them. Pardon me. And so I was like, ooh, I need to find another source, like another side hustle, another source of income that to pay for paintball. And I was like, well, at the time, there wasn't a lot of headband companies out there. It was Hormesis didn't exist. That wasn't even a thing yet. Sandana was definitely still a thing. Venomware was a thing, and of course HK and all the companies made their own headbands and stuff. But there wasn't a lot of competition out there, and there was certainly a big hole in the market. So toward the end of 2016, I started getting things figured out for that and getting fabric. And then by the beginning of 2017, I was making headbands,
Oh,
you
wow.
know. So, and for a long time, for a really long time, with no internet presence whatsoever, just essentially just posting things on Facebook or something like that, or just bringing them to events with me, bringing them to practice, things like starting out really small.
Right. And then it grew into like now, you know, people like me, see, BB, and Louisiana, like Drew Banks and everything. We buy your headbands, and like you see us rocking it with it. Of course, in the intro, Charm City is one of our is on the intro.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was like because your fabric is just and the way you present yourself is just amazing. It's just top of the line. It there's no words I could describe how good it
Yeah,
is.
thanks, man. I I wanted to be able to sell things that I would buy myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, I always felt like certain things are just overinflated pricing. Like I could never see paying at the time Sandana was huge in the secondary market, like 2015, 2016 Sandanas were going for $1,000 Sandana headbands, new old stock. People had bought them or they had bags full of them when they bought them when they were cheap and they were reselling them. They're brand new, still in the packaging. And the prices that these things were going for, I mean, if that's what you want and you want to spend that your money on that, more power to you. But I didn't want to feel like I was creating something that was crazy overpriced. I mean, obviously I want to make money, but I also want to feel like good about what I sell to people. I want to feel like, okay, that was a fair deal for both parties and like they're getting something really solid. I feel good about it. I feel good about representing it or guaranteeing it. And that's how I just wanted it to start. Like I'm a paintball player too. I've
Mm-hmm.
been disappointed with gear that I've gotten before. I've had things, pants and stuff that I bought that weren't good. They didn't fit right. They ripped. I had packs that have worn. I just don't want to be that. I want to be something that's like better than that. So maybe there's no issues with anything. Maybe the quality is like perfect and you don't have to worry about stuff. So either way, that's how it kind of started. Just from me being a paintball player, making stuff for other paintball players, and feeling like maybe I had a new ideas that I wanted to put out there. Like my headbands were the first headbands that had multiple fabrics, front and back multiple fabrics. That wasn't done. Everything was just folded over, you know, really before that. And my headbands were the first one with multiple layers of fabrics, adding stripes, adding details, different colored tails, different fabrics on the tails. I started all of that. And now there's a huge market where people have developed their own styles for headbands. There's a million headband companies. Everybody's got like their own little niche of things that they're doing.
Right.
So the market is much broader now, and I think there's a lot more opportunity to like have specialties.
Right.
So I'm kind of gone in the direction of developing digital art and taking my skills not just to fabrics with headbands, but like we've spoken about briefly before, I want to start doing jersey designs, logo designs for teams, and things like that too, because I feel like the digital artwork realm is, yeah, there's a lot of people that do it, but I have my own style of doing things, and if people like that style, then you can develop a a good business doing that. If people like your style, and then you start just doing your art.
And that's another thing is that you're from the U.S. and that is also where a lot of people buy their gear, like like you said, the pants, the jersey, and everything. But nowadays they buy it from overseas,
Hmm.
and you do it like you handcraft these headbands and everything. I wish I could grab mine, but it's in my car. I
Yeah.
don't want to bring out a dirty headband.
No, it's cool.
But it's just that you craft these in the U.S. and I feel like that would be amazing once you do jerseys and all these other apparels because the ones who make the jerseys and everything. In my defense, there are very few people, and I say very few because I don't know of anybody else in around the country or anything, but the ones I do know, and it's very low people that actually make great quality jersey that's here from the US. And I'm talking about I'm not talking about like JT and all that. I'm talking about like under see ruthless what's another one? Just it's not a lot because a lot of them go overseas. A lot of them you get your stuff from overseas,
Yeah.
and they're
Well,
usually never the good product. Like they're either too snug on the neck or they are too loose on the waistband.
yeah, that's a lot of that is, I mean, it's it's not as easy as you may think to get a product developed in the United States like that.
Oh
And
no, it's
a
not.
lot of manufacturing, most of manufacturing for garments and stuff is done overseas. I was talking to Chris from Under, well, I messaged him just recently, and I'm going to be doing, he's going to actually be the guy who's doing my first production, like practice jerseys and
Okay.
things that I design. I like Chris a lot. I like his
Shout out to
company.
you, man.
I like him personally. I think he's cool. He's done a lot for us. He sponsored our teams. He's been super good with us for gear and stuff in the past. He's top notch in my book. So yeah, he's gonna make the jersey for me, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But as far as production on things like making garments,
Hmm.
I'm focusing mostly on the digital artwork and not
Yeah.
on the production of those things. And like I'll do the digital production for fabric. I made the fabric for this. Like I had it produced and then the fabric is shipped to me here, and then I cut this out and make the headbands here in my room
I'll
here.
take it.
But yeah, but a lot of things are like if you're having jerseys made or things like
Right.
that, um, I don't want to have to assemble that here. I could do it. I have the machines to do it. That is not my life, man. I am not doing that. So yeah, that's
It's a
why I
lot
leave
of
it to the
work.
pros. Yeah, I leave it to the pros. I'll talk to people like Chris who already has a company that does all that business.
Yeah, and
So
Chris does an amazing job. I've seen like the Bearcats here in Louisiana,
hmm
veteran militia, the way their jerseys is made. Chris does an amazing job. I got nothing but respect for him, and especially
yeah,
he's running, as well as Bunker Fest or and these other teams that he runs for and these events. Man, that's
yeah,
just that's a
yeah. It's
lot. But I got nothing but respect for him.
yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to doing more designing. I think I'll still be making headbands, of course. I'm still going to be doing the classic stuff, but well, I think I've told you before too. Yeah, you definitely know we've talked about it, but I ended up getting a job this year, like a regular got to be there at a certain time and leave at a certain time job. And I haven't had a job like that in 25 years. I've worked for myself since 1999. I've been self-employed. I do my own thing, just like,
20 plus years since you had
yeah.
a job?
Yeah. I mean, I've always
Dude,
worked. I've always worked, but I had my own gig,
that is,
and
dude, that's all, dude, that literally nothing but respect. Nothing
yeah,
but respect, man. Because I can never do that. I cannot even do, I can't do that. Mm-mm, no way. But
no, you gotta, it's a hustle, man. It's like
it's a
you
major
only
hustle.
eat what you kill. So you gotta be on point.
Damn,
So, but
with people like that who make their own company and literally, and doing what you're doing and everything, I got nothing but respect because I come from a family. My mom owns her own company, known as Go Titles. It's a title insurance company and everything, and she started from the ground up. Like
mhm,
she started in 2009 in this household that I currently live in, and now she's like one of the top in my parish, like one of the top title insurance companies in my parish. And I'm like, people like that who can
mhm.
work by themselves and make a name and be strong like that, nothing but respect.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, some people just aren't. They just have their own idea or things they want to do, and it's like just try it. What's the worst that could happen? You have to go get a job. Like it happens.
So, what kind of job is it though? Like, is it?
Oh, I'm a jeweler by trade. I make custom jewelry, and I've been doing that for 32 years.
Oh
So,
wow,
yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
that's like what I'm best at, actually. Like that's my main thing.
So, do you do like is it like you actually take the stone, like the jewel stone, and like you just create something, or like?
Yeah, I do a lot of design in the computer. So a lot of modern stuff is designed in a computer, and then you make the model from what you design in the computer. So I've been doing that since like 2007, using computer design. But before that, I did everything by hand. So yeah, if like you handed me a stone and said, I want you to make a ring out of this, as long as I had some kind of metal to work with and I could melt it and form it, yes, I can make you a ring. Um, but nowadays, I design everything in the computer, and I set all the diamonds. I do all that stuff. That's
Oh
like it's
wow,
my gig. Yeah,
that's that's amazing. Like I
yeah.
bet that's really hard to like get all the design right, to get the carrot in there, like to make sure it looks really good. Like dang,
Yeah,
I, it's crazy.
it's kind of like driving a car after a while. I've been doing it for so long. It's kind of everything's kind of second nature. You just got to be really conscious of what you're doing, like really mindful. You can't let your mind wander. You got to be kind of just focused on what you're doing so that you get the best results. But it's like that with making headbands also.
Right. And it's just like making headbands because,
Hmm.
like you said, you gotta get all the designs right, make sure it looks good, make sure it does not look too wonky. Um, Even with my headband, it was when the way you did it. With my headbands felt perfect. And even though
Yeah,
you did announce
nice.
that you did announce it on your Instagram saying that this was like the Earth style kind of pattern. I
Hmm.
was like, oh, I hope someone does not call me Earth or anything like that. But if you look at them, it's not considered Earth because it does look techno. So,
Yeah, you have multiple layers going on for yours. Yeah, if for people who don't know who are seeing this or whatever, you are my first customer from the digital design side. Like I was already making the fabric and I was getting ready to do a big drop, and I had like 50 new headbands in stock, and of that 50, some of those were yours, in the first production of the digital artwork. So I think they came out really good, I think.
Oh yeah, they I still got three of them because I took one so I can play with it and just like see how
Hmm.
it look like and feel, and it feels amazing. And hopefully, the trials that we did for Team LAX Extreme, which I try out for, um, hopefully they got pictures of me wearing the headband, and that way I can post it. Put, of course, tag you on it, of course,
Cool.
and just fingers crossed, you know.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Definitely tag me on that. I'll see it. That'd be awesome.
So what's the future holds out for you? Like, what is the next big step um in Charm City and or in your life in general? Like, what is like the next major big step?
Well, I'm developing some clothing in 2025, and it looks like that I was trying to get stuff ready to do like a Christmas time drop, but it's looking like that's going to be more like beginning of January drop for some new clothing and stuff. And I'd like to do more clothing, but maybe like street style clothing or just comfort wear for like, shorts and t-shirts and tank tops, like player gear, like what you wear when you're done playing or stuff
Right.
like that, casual stuff. But I have bigger ideas for bigger things. I'd love to get into designing a lot more stuff. That's kind of where my passion is at right now. I feel inspired with tons of new ideas all the time about just sitting down and designing stuff. So I have like a plethora of ideas, and I don't have places to put all of those ideas. So I'd love to start doing more work for other people. Um, but we'll see how that pans out in 2025. Um, there's a team that I'm talking to now about redesigning their jerseys for them.
Cool.
So, their logo is good. I don't think they need to change their logo. Maybe do a slight update to the logo, but do a design for a jersey for them. And I think, if they like the designs I come up with, then you'll start to see teams rolling out with something different, something that's not going to look like every other jersey that's out there.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. Hey, I mean, that would be. I'm really looking forward to seeing that too because I love seeing New Jersey designs because, you know, it's just like when you see New Jersey's design, they're showing artwork. They're showing the
Hmm.
person's talent, and I always just like seeing it. So
Yeah,
seeing yours would be awesome.
and yeah, everybody's got a different style too. Like if you see a JT jersey from a distance, you can tell it's a JT jersey. Like there's a style to those jerseys, not just the giant, logo on it, but there's certain jerseys. Like if you see a Carbon jersey somewhere from across the field, you can recognize, oh, that's a Carbon jersey. Because they're
Right.
fitted a certain way and whatever. So there's a lot of options out there now for that kind of stuff, but I think certain things do have a stylistic look, and I was like, well, maybe just introduce some new looks into the market and see if people like it or not, and kind of go from there.
Yeah. So I did save some couple questions because some people did message me on
Hmm.
our Facebook and asked me a couple questions. They're kind of tied into this one big question, but I'll just go ahead and ask you. So, are you thinking about coaching any teams once you're done playing it? When once you're done being a player?
I've definitely thought about that. I'm 51 years old. I'm not going to be able to be. I mean, I don't know how much longer I could play, but I also have been playing for a long time. So, um, yeah, I've definitely thought about that. I don't. I'm not sure. I even thought it might be fun to start like a young guns kind of team and teach some kids from the ground up and see how they do and see if they have fun and see how that works. But yeah, I don't see myself disappearing from paintball even after I quit playing competitively, because I still think I'll be playing even just
Right.
recreationally and still be around. So we'll see. I don't really know. I think that's yet to be determined.
Hey, I mean, at least it's possible. I mean,
It is
I think
possible.
your knowledge and everything, you make a great coach. To be honest with you, you'll be a
Yeah.
great coach.
It's that's not an easy job though. You know,
No, it's not.
it's like that's a tough job, and you got to get people to want to listen to you, you know? Like you can be the best coach and have the greatest ideas and be the smartest guy on the field. If the players don't want to listen to you, or if they're hard-headed or stubborn, or for any number of reasons, then it's not going to work. It doesn't matter. Like that's the key thing. You have people have to want to hear what you have to say to be a
Right,
successful coach. Otherwise, you're just, I don't know. I don't think you're being as effective as you could be.
right. And that I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right, so in this part, you can actually ask me questions and I will answer to you honestly.
Oh, we're doing like a true thing. Well, actually, I know it seems like you and I know a bunch of the same people around. I mean, you know more people obviously than me that play at LAX or up in the northern panhandle of Florida and stuff like that. So I just think it's interesting that even though I haven't known you for a long period of time, we know some of the same
Yes.
people, you know, and I think that that's one of the things that I'm starting to realize more and more, because I'll go to an event and I'll see somebody who I haven't seen in 5 or 6 years, and they're still playing paintball, and there's, you know, it's like the group of people kind of, it doesn't change, but the longer you stick around, the more people in that group you start to know. You know what I mean? So like it's like your circle gets bigger the longer you're around. So I guess I'm curious about how long have you been kind of in the Louisiana paintball circle, and what made you decide to start getting into like social media with a podcast and with things like that in paintball? Because obviously you're passionate about paintball. You wouldn't do it if you weren't. But like, how did that kind of begin for you? Was it meeting like Drew from LAX, or meeting some of the other people who are kind of bigger players in the area, or how did that go?
So the funny story about it is this: is that my first gig of actually playing paintball was not at LAX. I didn't even know about LAX until 20, ooh, early 2010s. Or yeah, because I was 15 years old. I was like, a teenager, and I was actually going to command, paintball command in Mandeville,
Hmm.
and then the first time me playing paintball, I was scared. I was, you're a teenager, and I'm a shy kid. I was a very shy kid. I'm gonna tell you this. I was a very shy, kept to myself kid, and I didn't know about much about paintball. But it was my birthday, and my sister, who she was dating at the time, took me to go play paintball, and I was like immediately hooked ever since, and it just starting to grow and grew and grew. And I didn't stay in Louisiana for a long time. I really didn't. I actually went to different states and just played regular random fields with a bunch of friends. And we travel and all that stuff. I did stay at LAX for a long time. Like I played a couple times at LAX, and I didn't even know the owner Drew until after the pandemic.
Okay. So
And there's a funny story about this. His mom was my elementary school principal,
no way.
so she recognized me, and I recognized one of his kids, because me and her went to the same high school,
Okay.
and I was like, oh shit, like oh
That's
shit.
funny.
So that, but ever since then, like after the pandemic and everything, I went to try again with LAX, and this was when they had the um, only one speedball field and a recreation field, and that was it. And
Hmm.
woods ball field. Now we have like grass field, still recognition field, the Woods ball field, and the b-ball field, and that's it.
Yeah, I've seen videos from stuff like that, BB posts or whatever. I've seen videos from the field. It looks pretty slick.
It does, and Drew makes, he does the best he can with the condition in, Louisiana, because it's hard at LAX because the fact that it doesn't drain, like
Hmm.
there's not a good draining system. So once it rains, it will flood, and it will flood pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um, but Drew and the whole LAX family, they do the best they can to keep that field, secure, good, make sure the bunkers don't get ripped, or even though they fly all the way to Texas. Like we've seen bunkers that are in this big pond. If you ever come to LAX, there's a big pond, and we've seen bunkers that actually went inside that pond.
Hmm.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
but
at the paintball field that we used to have out here in South Florida, called Hot Shots. It used to be a driving range. The property used to be a driving range, so it was a big, wide open grass field that we'd set up airball fields on and stuff. And sometimes it got so windy out there that a bunker would come undone and it would get away from you, and it would be going so fast that people couldn't get a hold of it. And there was a pond at the other end of the property, and sometimes you'd get there in the morning, and from somebody didn't put a bunker away or it got away from bunkers, and be out in the pond floating. You'd occasionally see that. But yeah, I can
it's
relate.
it's just crazy. And shout out to BB, for drilling as much as he does and promoting your stuff as well as promoting LA Extreme. Shout out to him, and because we all have to work, but he's on the field, you know, mostly every day, grinding the shit out of it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wish I could be like him. I wish I could be like him.
Yeah, it
But
takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to get up to the next level and the next level and the next level. It's a grind.
oh yeah, it's a major grind. Now, your other question was what got me into like the social media aspect.
Hmm.
Well, I'm not a big social media kind of person. I like to keep it to myself and everything. But the whole idea of me making a podcast, like it was actually after the pandemic, where we all were just sitting in our houses, could not play paintball unless you play at the ultimate shootout event, and it was miserable. It was so miserable. And then after the pandemic, things got bad with the price of how to play and this and that. Everything was changing, and I was sitting down, and my girlfriend, who I love, and I'm still with, 4 years. I'm her dealing with this knucklehead. Shout out to you, babe. Um, she gave the idea and supported me of making a podcast that was nothing but paintball, and that's how the Paintball Lounge was formed.
Yeah.
And Drew was my first. Still, yeah, I still remember this. I will never forget it. He will always be my number one guy that I actually had an interview with, and shit took off like a rocket.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, and it was actually hard. It was actually pretty hard, um, for the podcast to shoot like a rocket, because I was like researching the crap out of it, because
Hmm.
I'm an autistic person, so socialing is not my greatest forte. So I literally got to work, and you know it I literally got to work of like researching and everything. And my girlfriend also helped me research it. She helped me every step of the way. We were staying up late at night and countless hours of just trying to find what to talk about on this podcast. Like, what's the
Hmm.
different ideas we could do and everything. And we just did it.
That's great, man. It's a lot because a lot of people talk about doing it, but you actually did the work, and look, there you are. Here you are now. You got your own like little set going, and like it looks like it's a full legit podcast, and you started it from nothing, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Yep, I still got the camera. The camera I use is the same camera I've been using, and I've actually grown with new equipment. We had to get rid of the cameras for the tournament style and everything because Louisiana's area for like tournament paintball is very limited,
Hmm.
and it was just hard, and
Yeah.
we had to make some really tough, difficult decisions to make. But when you make difficult decision, means open it's an open state for or open area to where you can actually grow and think of other things that would be much fun.
Yeah. Agreed. Sometimes those things seem like roadblocks at first, but they get you to think about something differently and approach it from a different angle.
And one of those is actually the last video I posted, the where I played the Toys for Tots. Had so much fun doing that. Was I've actually in my head was like this. I was watching Mike Bianca Vlog that he does from the Zen and the Art of Paintball. And I'm like to myself, hmm, what if I do that? What if I combine a look kind of like a log and gameplay and see how that turns out? Never done it before,
Hmm.
and I I loved it, and it was actually like I said, it was my girlfriend's idea to do this, and so you see a Marvel movie nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So you know how you have to stay at the end of the credits.
Yeah. 100%.
So I didn't know about that until I met my girlfriend. And then the idea came to my head like this. What if I do that? What if on the neck it says next time it shows where I'm gonna be at?
Hmm.
Give the expense. So that's what I did. I did like a little black screen and I said next time I will be at LAX. And I loved it. When it came out together and everything, man, I loved it. I was like,
That's
dude,
awesome.
this is awesome.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I've thought about it too. I like podcasts quite a bit. I've always thought it would be really cool to start a podcast and stuff, but it's a lot of work, and I'm just like, ugh, can I even really do that? Like it's it's tough. So that's very
It
cool, man.
is very tough, but if you if you can take an hour, like if you like, that's another thing. Like if I'm not playing paintball or talking to my girlfriend or doing anything, I just think of ideas, like just okay, what I can talk about and everything, and you just need an hour.
Hmm.
And like that's when people do all these other podcasts, like that takes 2 hours or 3 hours. I'm like, you don't really that need time. You just need an hour, and
Hmm.
then you'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily have the time or attention span to follow something that's really long. I mean, the good thing with podcasts is that you can pause it and like go back to it, pick up where you left off and stuff. But it would make it harder to have a really long form unless you had like a whole crew of people to help you with editing and things, because it would just be such an enormous task to edit, that much audio and video. Um, so yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah,
And
it's
plus it gives you opportunity to mix it up, talk about a bunch of different things too. Cause like you said, it didn't start out as like a talk about only paintball podcast. It's a lounge. Like you talk about whatever, you talk about a bunch of different stuff, you
exactly.
know?
And we had then I actually me and her actually me and my girlfriend actually did this. We have a new podcast. Um, we have a new one, and it's called Whiskey and Wine, where we
Hmm.
talk about anything and everything within reasons, because there's certain things we do not talk about.
Yeah,
Um, but that one is just that's me and her podcast, and I love doing podcasts. I really do. It's so
that's
much fun.
awesome. Yeah. I think it seems really cool. That seems like a really cool gig.
Oh, yeah. It's something to. It's a really nice hobby. It really is. And if you use like stuff like Restream or StreamYard and all that, just as you were trying to set this up and everything, it's just a quick, yeah, you gotta pay a monthly fee, but you're getting live. You're going to be on live. They give you the stuff for it to make sure your camera's working, your audio's working, and all this stuff. And all you're paying is this much a month. Okay.
Yeah. It gives people, like regular people, the opportunity to start to have like a platform to host the shows on. That's pretty awesome.
So then I just got a message from my other Facebook, the Paintball Lounge's Facebook, saying this question. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick.
Hmm.
Facebook's being a pain in the butt. Oh, okay. This was the same one I was about to ask you. Do you think that paintball is gonna be in 2025 better or worse?
It's what do you think they mean by better or worse?
I think
Like
would be
what
what
would what
I
would
think
better
people.
be? Like,
I think they're talking about since a certain person is in a certain place, that the price is gonna go down, or it's gonna be better for people to play more tournaments, or is it gonna be same old,
I
same old? I think that's
I
what
don't
they meant.
I think paintball is kind of, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like paintball is kind of on a set trajectory that probably not a lot will change. I mean, like I've been around for a while. I remember in 2005, the NXL at the time, the professional league with all the pro teams, was Dick Clark Entertainment bought the rights to put it on TV, so everybody was thinking, holy shit, this is it. A TV production company bought the rights to the NXL to put it on TV. It's going to be everywhere. Paintball is going to get famous. People are going to start making a lot of money. And, you know, it is what it is. It's on at midnight on a Thursday night somewhere, filling in some gap of time, and it never really makes it big. Um, Not like I don't want it to. I think paintball is exciting, but I think it's very difficult for people to see what's going on, because even with Go Sports, like Go Sports is the best full game coverage that I think we've had. Like watching the events on Go Sports, it's better now than it's ever been for a person who wants to watch paintball to be able to see the events and see different camera angles and see what's going on. But I'm telling you now, if you play that to a regular person who's never played paintball before, they're going to look at it and go, what is he looking at? I don't see another person over there. Why isn't he doing something? Because you can't see the stream of paintballs in the
Yeah.
camera. And so it looks like a guy is just sitting there holding his marker, doing nothing. But there could be paint flying all around the guy, and it doesn't translate well for television. I think paintball is way better live when you can kind of see the interaction, you hear the guns, you hear the people talking, and you get a better feel for it. So unless they can figure out a way to present paintball in a manner that people understand it
Mhm.
better, then I don't foresee anything really changing. Because even airsoft, have you ever watched Speedsoft on like
Oh, don't get me.
ESPN or
Oh,
something?
honestly, with
The
that,
reason,
I still cannot cross the idea in my head that speed like airsoft turned into a competition now.
yep.
It
Well,
that stills to me like what, like
well,
what?
think about the most important thing though. They're using tracer rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a guy is shooting, you know where he's shooting, you know who he's shooting at, and you kind of can get a feel for what the objective is.
Right.
Because as a person from the outside who's never played before, if I'm looking at guys playing Speedsoft in an arena and I see two guys shooting at one guy, I'm like, oh, they're both trying to get him. I instantaneously know what's happening. And with paintball, it's just not that way. You can't
Right.
see the paintballs. You can't see what's happening, and it's like somebody shoots a brilliant blind shot and smashes a guy right in the face. Boom. Okay, who made the shot? You don't see the shot in paintball. It looks just like a mystery, like a paintball just fell out of midair and hits a guy. So it's like you have to be more conscious of the nuances of the game of paintball to appreciate it on TV or on footage that you watch online. I think you have to almost know what paintball is. And I think that's just a really hard pill to swallow for general public who don't necessarily want to spend a long period of time trying to get familiar with a sport. It's not instantaneously recognizable as to what's going on.
Is
So,
not, and especially, I mean, I gotta give shout out to who is XTPL for doing the glow dart event that they have in
mhm.
Texas, because I've seen that, and they're actually using glow dart paintball. And you can still see the paint, even though it's not SB soft. I can't believe I just said that. um, but you can still see the line of paint, even though it's dark. I agree with you 100% on this. If Ghost Sports can do that, or find a way to where that people can actually understand the sport for the newcomers, it will be a game changer. And,
Mhm.
and another thing is this. I really do wish that Ghost Sports will go back to where it used to be, with the not with the showing who's alive and everything, but kind of like that. Like, because sometimes we do get like, oh, they show that little figurines on top of the
Mhm.
screen,
Mhm.
but we need more of that, because you're watching it and you're trying to teach the younglings or the newcomer how many bodies these people have alive, and they will show it, they will get confused.
Yeah, I think that's why paintball is better in person, live. You can really understand what's going on. And I don't think, like for Go Sports, for example, I think they do a great job. And
Oh yeah,
and there's no I don't think Go Sports would need to do anything to change, because anyone who subscribed to Go Sports, they're already into paintball.
yeah,
That's why they're subscribed. So they already understand the game. They already, like, when they pick up a Go Sports match, they know exactly what's going on and
mm,
and everything. I think it's if you wanted to grow the sport of paintball, to get in people who are from the outside, from the public, who've never seen a paintball match. Those are the people who are going to, like, it would really benefit for them to see a stream of paint, or to be able to visualize things like that. But there's always going to be X number of people who don't want their kids getting involved in a sport with guns, so there's a
yes,
certain amount of people that are just never going to be into it. They're never going to want their kids to play it. And then for other people, it's expensive. It's an
for
expensive
now,
sport.
for now.
So I think that there's room for growth, but I think it's a little bit tough right now when there's so many other options. So I hope paintball does grow. I hope it reaches more people, because I mean, dude, how many of the pro guys now are in their 40s? They've been playing pro for 20 years. They're in their 40s now, bro. Like a
Let's
bunch of
see.
them. A whole bunch of them.
Are we talking about, like, nowadays? Because I
Yeah.
think some people calling my boys the Canes, like the old Canes or something like that, because they're getting old. I'm like, how many people are there? Are they old?
Well,
Like,
you think some of the dynasty guys are 35, 40 years old. A bunch of them.
yeah,
A
Ryan
bunch of
Greenspan
them.
is one of them.
Yeah. Yosh Rao. I mean, but they've been playing pro for 25 years, almost, or whatever, 22 years or something. So like at some point you need to have new younger, faster, new players coming in to fill the slots of
Hmm.
people who will eventually step away from playing full time.
Yeah.
So there's got to be an influx of younger players who are exciting to watch, because I mean, that's what we want. We want to see the best. We want to see the fastest, the most exciting, the most aggressive, the most sneaky, whatever, but we want to see the best of the best play.
Yeah, and that's why, honestly, to me, I like Go Sports and I love what they're doing. I really do. I'm gonna get some hate on this, but I don't care. Generally, to me, I prefer watching the YouTube version of the semi-pro and the women's division than I do with the pros, because that is like when you see the semi-pro and they're, and especially the women's division, you see something new, but you see talent that, they're in their prime. Like they're guys that are like they're in their prime, or they're like 20 years old and they're playing semi-pro, and the way they play it, it's like, this is fucking good. I'm actually enjoying this way much better. And I remember telling this to a buddy of mine that I was watching Chicago, the Win City Major. And I was telling my buddy this. I'm actually enjoying this more than I'm watching the pros.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to be hate on the pros or anything, but that was more entertaining and to watch than the pros were, because the pros. Like
Yeah,
you don't exactly know them, but you know how they play by watching all the other events. You know how good they are. You know which their dominant side is, where their weakest is at. But semi pros and the women's division and any of these divisionals, you don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
And
I
I
like
just love
watching
that.
divisional play a lot too. I really do. As a matter of fact, like at World Cup and stuff, I don't think I watched any of the pro games, but I watched a ton of divisional games. Um, I think it is exciting. And it's exciting to see like younger teams put it together.
Mhm.
When things are gelling with them and they have good communication on the field. I mean, I like that. I like watching those type of games where it's not just a beating, but it's like you really see things start to gel and the team starts to communicate and they're working from one side to the other really well together. Like that stuff is great. And watching that stuff again, watching it live, there's nothing like it. It's better to watch it live, I think.
It is, and here's another thing I'm going to say this: people need to who are never got into it. They need to get this in out of their heads or anything. But World Cup is not like the arena and everything. They think when they hear it and everything from the Go Sports, they think, oh, there is probably like a big arena. It's not. It is not. It is
Yeah.
literally what, like maybe think about like what, 2 or 3 or 4 high school football games. It's kind of like that size.
Like
Kind
the
of,
bleachers, you mean?
yeah.
Like the
It's like that's all it is. Like, and they hear the screaming and everything. Like, is that arena? I'm like, no, that's like a high school bleacher style right over there.
Yeah. There's a lot of times that the voices you hear, they'll be up against like there's like a public viewing area by the pro field, which is between two tents that you can kind of stand up there and watch,
Mhm.
without sitting down in the bleachers. And then there's a big like VIP section which takes up one part of the field that's all covered by a tent
Yeah,
that a lot of people are hanging out in there watching the pro game. So there's people there, but no, it doesn't it there's not 1,000 people watching.
yeah, and
There's
that's what people
probably
are, and
four
that's
or
what
five
these
hundred people.
these youngsters needs to understand. Like, get this in y'all's head. Like, when you play World Cup or NXL in general, don't think it's like playing as a sold out arena. You That's
Oh
never.
no,
No, it's
no.
not
There's
like
nobody
that.
watching. The only people watching you are the teams that you have to play against later in the day. They just want to see what you're going to do. That's all it is.
That's all it is. That's really all it is. And
Yeah,
I hope one day I do play World Cup, and that's one of my day. That's one of my bucket lists to play, is
yeah,
play that event.
yeah.
Um,
It's fun, man.
but is there any more questions um, that you would like to ask? Because go ahead. Like, I am an open book.
No, I like just kind of chit chatting about paintball and stuff. We've kind of, we we're both into the same kind of stuff, so it's like we have a lot of things to talk about, you know. Um, it's have you been to any of the NXL events recently or since like pandemic or anything has been kind of done?
2018, I believe I went to, yeah, 2018 I went to World Cup, and
Hmm.
I was not going there as a player. I um I was just going there just to go there. And now, and there's actually a backstory. I was playing I was on a team, but we were not like, major, but we wanted to play World Cup,
Hmm.
and I fucked up my knee.
Oh,
So now for, let's see, I'm 29. I've been holding this. Oh man, I don't know how long it's been, but I've been holding this regret shoulder chip on my shoulder for a long ass time that I got the chance to play World Cup, but never got the chance. And it's like the ultimate dreamer to me. It's like that's the one thing I want to accomplish. And then if I retire the next year, I'll be like this.
yeah,
That's fine
it's
with
good.
me.
They've been doing a lot of fun stuff at World Cup. Like you can play 3-man, 5-man, 7-man mechanical,
I saw
10-man,
that.
10-man electronic or mechanical. You could play uh, the X Ball or the Race 2, or they had, I think there was 1v1s also. Like they have a lot of different stuff going on this year at Cup. I mean, they usually have quite a few different things, but
Right.
it seemed like there was every category of paintball was available this year. So I think they're expanding that, and you know,
Well, they
at
have
some point
to.
you'll get a chance to get up there, and you gotta try and squeeze in somewhere to play a little bit, even if it's just 1v1s or something would be pretty fun, you
Now,
know.
this I saw, and I actually believe this is going to happen. Yeah, I really do believe this is going to happen. So, we know about what esports is, right?
Hmm.
Now, since paintballers came out, I have no doubt in my mind they're going to do a esports kind of tournament at World Cup, and they're going to have like a little tent just for the guys who are playing esports of paintballers when it's fully fledged out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they're going to do.
They have tents with esports going, like paintball games where there's like multiple computers set up,
Mm-hmm.
like quad computers, like four
Yeah,
people at each station, and they're all playing against each other on, and you can watch it on the big screen in front. It's kind of like a miniature gaming arena that
mm-hmm.
this company had set up for the last couple years
I
that
feel like
was
that's what they're
there.
going to do. That's the next step. I feel like that's what the
Yeah.
next big step, and I think that will be awesome because nowadays esports, like coming from just playing League of Legends, Call of Duty, and all that stuff, now is coming bigger and bigger and bigger to where that you know it's more knowledgeable,
Hmm.
and it's crazy. And now paintballers being fully developed like very soon. They just released they just released the new update, adding different guns. Now it's from a instead of a Planet Eclipse gun and the Field One Force, we got the my gun, MXR, and even a rotor and all that. Once it gets fully developed, I think it's going to be really awesome and big for the newcomers or guys who just want to play and just practice lanes, like see where if there's a lane there, or I think it's gonna be really big.
So do you think that some company will eventually come up with a paintball marker game controller? So if you're doing on the break shooting, you can actually turn the marker and shoot like a real marker, like with a real trigger.
Honestly, to me, with the way that virtual reality is, like the Oculus and all that, um, I there's no doubt in my mind they might do something like that, but I hope it's still with the same company that is on paintballers, because companies like big companies like see Activision or stuff like that who made Diablo and all those big company games, they would take this, innocent sport that we love so much, and all our hard work would go straight out the window because people can get very judgmental of the game and the way the product is so harshly. It's not even funny.
Mm.
Even Call of Duty gets more criticism than ever. I've seen the comments every single day. I've seen the comments of the Call of Duty games. It's some harsh ass people. Like, oh my god, it's
That's
bad.
that's
So I'm like,
wild.
I'm good that paintball is like, it's like this. And if they do make a virtual marker to help people like do their snapshot, hold their guns right, and everything, I hope and pray it's the same company, because if any other company gets it, it's gonna be bad.
Mm. Yeah, it would have to be integrated like really well. So, but I imagine that, I mean, it's just a game controller. They've been making, gun-shaped game controllers for a long, long time, since like one of the first Nintendos with Duck Hunt, you know. I mean, I'm not sure how it worked or what have you, but I still think, because playing those games, it helps you think about the game strategically and with teamwork. But if you go to try to apply that to real life, it's like, well, you don't have comms, like you can't wear the little earpieces and stuff,
No,
so
you gotta
you
use
have
your
to
voice.
rely on your real voice. And sometimes that's like, it's not easy to always remember to talk, or sometimes it's hard to find concise words so you can
Mhm.
clearly say something very quickly. And it's that's one of the harder things for people to develop, is being really clear and loud and making sure you're talking to your teammates and things. But it's like in Call of Duty and things, it makes it way easier when you've got a little headset on, and it's like you're just talking without all the craziness. um
Yeah, but
so
it's
it is
just,
important.
it is very important. But it's just like these big company games. I just don't want them to hurt the sport that we love and we have a passion for, because we are getting enough hating as it is. Because, like you said, parents are being snowflakes and not letting the kids, try the sport out because they don't want to get hurt or anything out or something like that. And I say snowflakes because it's like, get your kids out of the house.
Mhm.
They have pent up anger. They got, they want to feel like it's like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Take them paintball.
Yeah. Yeah.
It helps
Some
us out because we get money out of it, like for the field owner, so we can still play.
Right. It's just tough though. I think a lot of kids, they don't want to be outside, and they don't want to get sweaty, and they don't want to get dirty, and they don't want to get tired, and they don't want to get shot with a paintball. And I could be wrong about that. I mean, there's going to always be a group of kids who wants to go hard. They want to skate hard, they want to BMX hard, they want to, whatever they're into, they want to go 100%. And those are the kind of people that end up playing paintball, pretty hardcore people.
And that's why I always tell the parents every single time. Like, I tell them every time they try to get into a kids into the sport, I tell them this: paintball is the only sport, well, somewhat only sport, that you really don't get injured. The only time you ever would get injured is by user error.
Yeah. You could like sprain your wrist or do something like that, but it's usually like if you trip or sprain an ankle, it's like because you tripped or
Yeah,
something. It's
user
you just gotta
error.
be you just gotta be as careful as you can. I mean, I used to skateboard a lot. Like that was the first sport that I was really into, and I had multiple broken bones and all kinds of stuff with skateboarding, and I've never been injured like that with playing paintball. So, so far so good, you know.
Uh, I think, all right, man. I think that's all the time we got because it's already like, I know it's probably 8:20, and I know you probably have to get ready for tomorrow because it's Sunday paintball, and um, knock some heads and get some rest. As
Awesome,
I,
dude.
as I do I.
Yeah,
But
perfect,
thank
man.
thank you, Mike, for coming on the show. And I hope we get those products in, like the jersey and everything. Hopefully, I'll be the first one to grab it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll let you know as soon as that happens.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Great talking to you, buddy.
You too.
Have a good night.
All right, y'all. So that was Mr. Mike from Charm City Paintball. And, you know, awesome, awesome dude. I always love doing behind the marker. And it was just fun. I had a great time doing this. And um, I'm sorry if I look like I'm tired out if y'all were watching the whole video and everything, because the fact that I just got done doing the first day of the trials. I may do the second day. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But I hope y'all enjoy this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page so y'all don't have to miss any of the contents that we will pull up, whether it's gameplay or behind the marker or any announcements. So please like, subscribe, and share this video as well. Buy some products from Charm City Paintball. They're a great company. Mr. Mike's made from the USA. He's from Florida. So, and you're getting the best of the best. So I'll